In race 1 at Monza, it was the fast Puerto Rican Felix Sorales who claimed pole, Carlos Sainz Jr. sitting alongside. A shower at the start forced everybody to pit for rain tyres. Sainz emerged in a lead he was never to relinquish, heading for his first British F3 win.
Still the first race of the weekend, still really a lot of championship to go, but now it's time to enjoy this moment because it's really special for me.
Time for race 2 here at Monza, and as you can see, the conditions have got significantly worse for all of us. It's really tipping it down now. In fact, it's going to be wet and slippy out on the track. And as you can see, it is a reverse grid, meaning Carlos Sainz Jr., who actually won the first race, he drew 10th, so he's way back there. Nonetheless, on pole, as before, is Felix Sorales.
So here we go then for round 5 of the Cooper Tires British Formula 3 International Series, getting underway after 2 laps behind the safety car, field led by the red and white car of Felix Sorales, the poleman for race 1, as the top 10 are inverted, gets pole for race 2 from Fami Ilias. These are truly shocking conditions, rained almost ceaselessly since the end of qualifying in the beginning of race 1. And Saturday, wet. Sunday, very wet indeed. Away goes the Puerto Rican driver. Second, Fami Ilias. Third place, the white car of Nick McBride. You can see Jasmine Jafar duck out of the spray just to find out where the start line is. And in the spray behind the leader, it is going to be very dangerous indeed for everybody. Fami Ilias in second with the blue side pods, the silver nose. The white car, Nick McBride. Blue, white and red, that's Jack Harvey in 4th place off the grid. And nobody, I think, is going to make up places on purpose up to the first corner. It might well happen by mistake. On board with Jack Harvey, that's the view. No windscreen wipers, indeed no windscreen. Once you're following a car on the straight, you are doing it absolutely blind. So Sorales, a great opportunity here to recover from the pit stops forced by rain yesterday that cost him any chance of a second win in the championship. Well, the yellow nose there of Carlos Sainz, 10th away at the start, and this is going to be a waiting game, a game of survival. If you're at the front, you might be able to see. If you're not, like Jack Harvey, you've got to look through the corners, because once you get on the straight, you're blind. Well, Harvey looking down the inside of Nick McBride's white machine, car number 12. Couldn't quite get through there between the Lesmos. Now it's the run down to the Ascari chicane, and see he's staying out of the slipstream. Normally at Monza that would be the place to be, but when you are in the direct wake of the car in front, as you can see, it just becomes a whiteout. Sorales leads, Ilias in second, then the battle for third. McBride still in front of Jack Harvey, and incidentally we've lost Hannes von Asseldonk. The Dutch driver went off in the rain before they got the start. So that's moved everybody behind him up one. Here comes Harvey. Now the straight's wide enough. Never mind the slipstream. Visibility is all that counts here. Looking down desperately to see the braking area. Ilias very offline into the braking area at the Parabolica. Harvey on the inside of McBride. And it is tippy toes around the outside for Nick McBride. He hangs on. Harvey's car twitching viciously as he tries to get on the power earlier. 5th place is Pietro Fantin, Alex Lynn behind him. And Sorales streaking away now. Well, Sorales, this is playing very nicely for him. He's the only man who can actually see where he's going. And, whoa, nonetheless, makes a mistake under braking. And that is going to cost him potentially. Nick McBride in 2nd place still. So where is Fami Ilias gone? Ilias has vanished from 2nd on the straight. We saw him very offline into the Parabolica. Well, he has vanished. Looks like he might have rejoined the track further back. But this now then, the battle for 2nd. I'd be astonished if Jack Harvey has any idea who is in front of him and that if Fami Ilias actually went off. Harvey's still struggling for visibility. They're in the middle of that 3-car train because they've been caught by Pietro Fantin, car number 2. Now, Fantin, of course, will have exactly the problem that Jack Harvey has, i.e. he can't see Harvey. In fact, we can't even see Fantin. It is so wet here. You can see rivers of water across the track, and they migrate. They change lap by lap as it rains more or less, and more and less runoff comes across the track. So the drivers have to be very careful indeed. really, Sorales is the only man who's got any clue what's going on. You can see the spray hanging in the trees here. On board again with Harvey. Well, if this was dry, there's no doubt he would be all over McBride and maybe able to get by. This time he goes on the grippy side around the outside, and that's a great move by Jack Harvey. Committed himself early, and he went. And Nick McBride clearly had enough visibility to see him coming and let him get through. There's Sainz going through, and there's Ilias. So he did rejoin, and Sorales having another big moment. He's trying to go way offline, and this is what happened at the end of the straight. Again, trying to stay way offline to try and find some grip, and outbraked himself. Well, why is he doing that? Why is he not using the normal racing line like Nick McBride? Because that's where all the other cars have left rubber and oil for the last 90 years of racing here, and that makes it very treacherous under the water. In the slipstream of McBride with Pietro Fantin now. And behind you can see Jasman Jafar and Alex Lynn. Fantin bouncing over the curbs. Again, the visibility is so bad, it's not until the spray drops when the cars get down to 30 or 40 miles an hour that you can actually see the chicane. By that stage, the drivers are looking through it anyway and looking for the exit. Around Curva Grande, but frankly, you could be anywhere. If this was a computer game, you'd be worried you couldn't see anything. In real life, it's even more treacherous. And McBride very slow there. Got the rod here completely wrong, and here comes Pietro Fantin looking for third place. Doesn't dare put it up the inside into Lesmo 1, but he's piling on the pressure. McBride very defensive here. The wheel spin there as he got a left rear over the curb, Pietro Fantin. The revs just climbed. Now here we go. This is for third place. Good move by Fantin, and McBride's seen it before, but he is staying on the defensive inside line. Going to make Fantin go the long way round. Come on, big fella, if you've got it, let's see it. Fantin in 6th gear, hanging on, being brave, but McBride has territorial advantage on the way in, and Fantin can't avoid running into him. Luckily, I think it was tyre to tyre, so no bits of wings flying off. Again, snap of oversteer on the exit as the power comes on song in this 2-litre engine of his. There's a corner out there somewhere. The scary thing is there's a car in front with a high visibility rear light, and we can't even see the light, never mind the car. Turquoise of Jasman Jafar in 5th, the battle for 6th. 2 teammates here, run by the same team, Fortec Motorsport, Alex Lynn and Pipo Durrani. Watching from the pit wall or from under an umbrella somewhere is about the best place to be, I think. And Spike Goddard catches himself out down there at the Parabolica. Looks like he put a wheel on a painted line, and that's all it takes once you get onto the grass here. And straight through under braking, Nick McBride makes a mistake. Carlos Sainz Jr. there with Harry Tinknell right behind him. Tinknell from last row of the grid. So Harry's starting to make progress in these filthy conditions, and Goddard is out. His perfect finishing record is now a thing of history, but what a start to the championship he's had. 4 wins from 4 starts. That clatter with the barriers, I think, might well have shaken him up a little. There's Jasman Jafar. A couple of years in British F3 under his belt, so he's seen these conditions before. Not at Monza, but other British racetracks. And there again is the battle for third. Nick McBride still in front of Pietro Fantin. And again, Fantin, you see a little bit of opposite lock out of Lesmo 1. As soon as you put the power down, the car just slides underneath you. This is making modern tyres feel like 1950s racing tyres, I think, where the power is greater than the grip. It's a real challenge for drivers. Imagine racing in these conditions in the 1950s, 1930s even. Around the outside goes Fantin, makes it stick this time. Don't touch him, Nick. Nick McBride manages to keep his nose out of the way. He made Pietro Fantin work hard for the podium, but in the end, Fantin did squeeze through. Yellow flags are out. And as you can see, slow Felix Sorales. Everybody, again, apart from Sorales, blinded by spray, so when you see a yellow flag in your periphery, you've got no idea what might be in front of you. So in these conditions, you really have to obey them. Emerging from the gloom, Sorales still leading, but the gap is coming down. Jack Harvey is coming through less dense spray at that distance as Goddard's car is craned away. I wonder how that'll leave him for race 3, the final one of the day. Harvey in second then, Pietro Fantin up to third ahead of Nick McBride, who's eating his spray at the moment. Goddard looks to be okay. A bit rueful there, but these things will happen in such dreadful conditions. Jasman Jafar in 5th. 2 red and white cars are Alex Lynn in 6th and Pipo Derani in 7th. Behind them, Carlos Sainz Jr., race 1 winner. He's in 8th place from 10th on the grid. Felix Sorales, his dad, is a powerboat racer, so maybe that's helping him in these conditions. But a great race 3 win and great qualifying in Oulton Park. And he's backed that up here as well, raced in Formula Renault. So he's got some European experience, or British experience at least, but for the first time here at Monza, really producing the goods. And in these conditions, starting from pole is definitely half the job. Again, as he picks up speed, coming through the standing water on the left of the track, he's making sure he keeps his tyres cool, doesn't want them to overheat if the track starts to dry out. Not much chance of that. It's still raining cats and dogs. And in the background there, Jack Harvey doing the same. Long way back, 3rd place now, Pietro Fantin. So is it boiling down to 2 previous race winners, Jack Harvey and Felix Sorales? So far, we are having a different race winner each time out. And could it be 18-year-old rookie Felix Sorales who claims the second-time win? At the moment, he's certainly got every opportunity to do so. And this is all about concentration, keeping the speed up, but absolutely vital to keep the concentration. Make no silly errors. Coming down the gearbox into the Parabolica in the spray with Pipo Derani in front, teammate Alex Lynn. You can see his light flashing just about, but as the speed picks up, Lynn and Jasman Jafar all but disappear. And the camera giving you a fantastic view of what the driver can see. Essentially the grandstands and nothing in front. Onto the last lap. Is he going to take 2? Is he going to avoid the white line in the middle of the road? Oh, is he going to hang on? His teammate comes back and Alex Lynn tries to go around the outside and has to jump the curbs to hang on to 6th place. And that means Derani is waving his hand there, going, come on, you can't do that. Well, he'll lose it in the steward's office if he does finish in 6th place at the line, because he gained an advantage there by going outside the track limits. What Derani's got to not do now is have an accident trying to get by. He looks again, number 3 car, can't squeeze through for 6th position. But Alex Lynn, very, very offline into the Roggia. And again, I would have my second hand on the wheel there. I know he's annoyed Pipo Derani, but it is only 6th position, and you do yourself a far greater injustice having a monumental shunt because you've only got one hand on the wheel when the car steps out on you. Out of the Lesmos, still following the turquoise and white of Jasman Jafar, as out of Ascari for the final time, understeer all the way through there, despite the big grooves in those wet weather Cooper tyres, for our poleman and race leader Felix Sorales. You can see from the marshals under the umbrellas tucked away there, it is still absolutely pelting with rain. And Sorales into the Parabolica safely. Final lap, final corner, he will head to the checkered flag to claim win number 2 of the season. He is the first man to take a 2nd win in the British Formula 3 International Series. Jack Harvey in 2nd position, and I should think they, as well as everybody else, will be mightily glad that that is all over, and they'll be praying for a bit of dry later on. Battle for 5th, Jasman Jafar ahead of Alex Lynn. Pipo Derani here in 7th. You've got to anticipate he will be moved up ahead of Alex Lynn in the final results. No problems though for Felix Sorales, I think. He shot through the chicane, but it wasn't a deliberate move to take an advantage. And I think they'll have to allow a little bit of tolerance for the filthy weather conditions. So Pipo Derani still accelerating hard out of the first chicane. Let's hope he has seen the checkered flag. Slow cars in front, including his teammate. And he goes right over the back of Alex Lynn's car. That was a big impact. He clearly did not see the checkered flag in the spray of 2 cars in front. Alex Lynn's car is damaged. Derani's much more so, I suspect. Take a look at this. Lynn's still going quickly, then they start to catch cars in front. That's a terrifying view as he curls up into a ball to protect himself. Youch. Well, confirmation of the result then. Tuvashen Padiachi claims his first win in the national class. Pietro Fantin ended up in 3rd, Jack Harvey 2nd, but our race winner for the 2nd time, Felix Sorales.
Really wet out there. I just tried my best to stay on the track. I wasn't really pushing. I noticed I had a big gap at the beginning of the race, so I just kept working at it and braking later and later. I wasn't very comfortable with the track. It was just really damp. But at least I got a win today. I started pole yesterday, but the pit stop strategy didn't work. But in the end, I'm finally in P1 again.
We obviously came here with high expectations. Qualifying didn't quite go the way we planned, and in the race we ended up starting from the pit lane because it started raining when we were all on slicks, and had a minor issue there when I was in the pits. I ended up starting last, finished 5th in race 1, which then put me 4th on the grid today. So yeah, I think really good job by the team. Difficult conditions. We did a few laps under the safety car, so it shows how wet it was out there, and I'm not sure how many people crashed in the end, but I mean the race at the front was really good. A lot of respect between the drivers, and you need it in them conditions, because if you don't, you can end up having some pretty big accidents.
Yeah, it was really wet in the beginning. I couldn't see anything, not only in the beginning, of course, to the end, but in the beginning couldn't see anything, so we had to be a bit cautious because there was a lot of aquaplaning on the straight before Parabolica. It was really dangerous and risky. So it was just patient and being calm, and when you could go to the end, I knew I had a great car already on the outlap. I felt a lot of grip, so I knew I had potential to be on the podium. So some guys made mistakes, and I got over it, and so it was good.
Nice, well done. Do you practice for these conditions?
We cannot practice a lot because it's quite limited. So, but when there is a test booked and it's raining, we need to do it. But I really like raining when it's like this, a lot of raining, not like yesterday when it was damp, so it was a bit difficult. But when it's a lot of water, I really enjoy it. It's really nice and challenging, so it's really good. And Carlin gave me a great car, so I knew I could be on the podium.
I knew where Spike was because he was just in front, and I dropped back quite a bit at the start, so I just couldn't. There's too much spray. 13 cars ahead of me and can't see anything. So slowly closed the gap over the race, and I didn't even know I had the win until they pointed me through in the last lap. So I was pretty there.
Nice surprise.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise, but got a longer race. Got to focus on that one and see if I can beat Spike again.
Well, that was an extremely wet and incident-packed race, but after the break we've more for you with race 3 here at Monza. So for race 3 here at Monza, it's an exciting looking grid, still a little bit wet, but let me tell you about the front 3. In 3rd place it's Alex Lynn, then we have Felix Sorales in 2nd. He of course has just won the previous race, and the race winner from the first race, Carlos Sainz Jr., is on pole. Should be some explosive racing.
Here we go then, ready for round 6 of the Cooper Tyres British Formula 3 International Series. After a final extra lap behind the safety car, Carlos Sainz gets ready to charge. The race 1 winner from Felix Sorales, our race 2 winner, Alex Lynn, Jasmine Jafar, Hannes van Asseldonk, Pipo Derani, and the rest of them in a lot less spray than in race 1 today. And away they go. Green, green, green this time, and you can bet that all the teams will be telling their drivers when the checkered flag comes out as well this time. Sainz leads down to the first chicane. Sorales moves over to cover Alex Lynn. covers him in spray, and Sorales gets on the brakes early. He can't see what's going on. Jasman Jafar, the turquoise and white, trying to go around the outside. Oh, just avoids contact but has to jump the chicane. And Alex Lynn was demoted from 6th place after gaining an advantage like that in the end of race 2. Jafar is going to have to give that position back and does so. Slows momentarily as they go through Curva Grande, allows Alex Lynn back in front to 3rd place. Sainz is on the brakes, Sorales in 2nd place, and then Alex Lynn, 36, in 3rd, but Jafar is all over him, and oh, look how early Jafar is on the throttle. Car fishtailing wildly underneath him as he desperately tries to take advantage of Alex Lynn making a mistake there into the Roger. Can't do so. Hannes van Asseldonk there, and Pipo Derani next up, then Pietro Fantin, Harry Tinknell, race 1 winner Jack Harvey, and there is Fami Ilias. Ilias down 12th place on the grid. Still the first lap of the race in racing terms. Carlos Sainz pulling away fast from Felix Sorales. And this has 2 things, of course. Sainz can see where he's going, but the further away he gets, so too can Sorales see a little better. Of course, if he wants to win this, he's going to have to close up on Sainz and pass him, and that, as we've already seen in race 2, may not be that easy. Sweeping through the Ascari chicane, on board with Jack Harvey. Harry Tinknell right in front of us. This is a battle for 7th and 8th. 7th is somewhere up in front. See Harvey, he's not checking the mirrors, he's looking for marker boards. There's the marshals, the final marshals post, looking for the marker board. 150 into the parabolica we go. You have to look out sideways, which is absolutely anathema to a racing driver who's doing 165 miles an hour, but in a ball of water you can't look forward. On board with Harry Tinknell. See if you can see the marshals posts on the right. There is the start-finish line. And that means we're safely behind another car that we can actually see where we're going, down into the first chicane. And Tinknell closing up on number 2, that's Pietro Fantin, the black and bright red colours. And black and orange is Tinknell, blue, white and red Jack Harvey. Again, ooh, and a mistake there by Nick McBride at the chicane. He shot through those big polystyrene bales. On board once more with Jack Harvey through Curva Grande, Curva di Biasono, which is the village just to your left. Jinx to the racing line on the left-hand side. And that's to try and give him a bit of vision as everybody else moved over to the right. You can hear the engines spiking immediately as the driver put the throttle down there, exiting the Rogia, and just starting to spin the tyres immediately. These are really tough conditions for the drivers and for the Cooper tyres. They're shifting a lot of water, all of it going up into the air. That makes it very hard to see, but there's still more water on the track. You can see very distinct dark marks on the track from the cars that have just passed. Everything else looks silvery. That's because it's covered in a nice layer of water. This really is offshore power boating. I don't think there is a boating lake in the Royal Park at Monza, but today looks like the circuit is providing one. Here's your race leader, Carlos Sainz Jr., still creeping away from Felix Sorales, but it's an indication that Sorales has got good enough visibility. He's not getting too far away. Alex Lynn in there somewhere in 3rd. Oh, and close behind him, still Jasman Jafar, I think, was that shadow. Then Hannes van Asseldonk, Pipo Derani, that's the top 6. Pietro Fantin 7th, Harry Tinknell in 8th. So they're all still in grid position. And in these conditions, it's not the aerodynamics slowing you through the corners that separates the cars. It's the lack of any idea where you're going. Still listen to the commitment. No wavering on the throttle. There's the first marker board, there's the second, hard on the brakes, hard, 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 down on the inside, sees an opportunity and goes for it, and squeezes by Harry Tinknell. That's the first genuine pass of the race. So good move by Jack Harvey, started 10th, he's now up to 8th place ahead of Harry Tinknell. And Harvey, with a little bit better visibility, having a long look in the left-hand mirror there to see if he can figure out if Tinknell's there or not. This is the other difficulty when you just pass somebody, they're bound to be close behind. But of course, you want to make sure as you turn in that they don't suddenly appear out of the gloom, because there may be a bright tail light. There are no headlights on these cars. Harvey sees Ticknell getting a run on him round the outside, exiting the Rogia into the first of the Lesmos with Harry. Well, very, very different conditions to last year at Monza, when it was nice and dry and fast and another classic slipstreaming festival. Jack Harvey now starting to chase down Pietro Fantin. That's the flashing red light you can see in front. Again, goes almost black under the bridge there as you go under the old banking. And those braking markers at the side of the track, normally drivers will only use them maybe on their first couple of laps around an unknown circuit. But in these conditions, it's all you've got. Felix Morales pulling away in second place from everybody else. You just can't see a thing, can you? There is Morales in second. Carlos Sainz is now starting to open up the gap notably. Getting on for 5 seconds clear now as he comes across the line. And Sainz has this race by the scruff of the neck. He didn't have too many wet weather races last year in the Formula Renault Euro Cup and Northern European Challenge in which he raced. But he's got enough experience to know that these are conditions where the weather gods are just waiting to whip the carpet out from under you. Jack Harvey all over Pietro Fantin now. This is for 7th place. You can see more flashing lights in front. Pipo Derani that will be, and Hannes van Asseldonk. But at the moment, Harvey just concentrating on one car, his own, and trying to make sure that he doesn't run into the one in front as he's trying to make a pass. Pietro Fantin feeling the pressure now in car number 2. Hopping over the curbs unnecessarily hard there, I thought. Really just offline as he went in. That shows how defensive he's being. He needs to be chasing the car in front, Pipo Derani, because he's closing on him. Derani's made a mistake somewhere in the first part of this lap, because both the cars behind are running up fast behind him. There's Derani, and Pietro Fantin is looking for a move immediately. He has to. Derani's slow for some reason. Whether the engine's gone off song or something else has happened. Here they come out of the gloom. There is Hannes van Asseldonk, he's in 5th. This is the battle for 6th. And Derani again defensive over the curbs. Well, normally in dry weather, there's loads of grip there. In the rain, though, it's paint, which is about as grippy as ice normally is when it's got water on top of it. Harvey immediately gets out of the spray. He's trying to judge the distances in front of him down to the Parabolica. He's offline. Is he going to have a lunge here? No, he's not quite close enough. And Pipo Derani and Pietro Fantin stay in front of him. Derani seems to have recovered his composure. I have a feeling that Derani did make a mistake. There's Pietro Fantin, the black and red. Jack Harvey right behind him. We ride with him again. Do you know what, in these conditions, it's slightly redundant hanging out a pit board, isn't it? You can see the pit wall is there. You can probably see there are people there as well. Read a pit board? I don't think so. Slightly more pressing matters, not running into the car in front. I am slightly making it sound as though they can't see a thing and they don't know what they're doing. Certainly the second is not true, but the first very much is. And I think it's starting to rain more heavily again. It looks like there's a lot more spray here in Curva Grande. Much more water on the camera lenses as well. That's just what nobody wanted, because their tyres will be struggling now and getting worse. You can see a big lock up there by Pipo Derani. Very clearly saw the grooved pattern on the tyre as he locked up into the Rogia. You can see the longitudinal grooves, but you can see the latitudinal grooves as well quite clearly. And that shows again, they're not just follow my leader, they are absolutely going at it. Hammer and tongs, and Harvey up the inside into Lesmo 2. Great opportunistic move there on Pietro Fantin. So Jack Harvey is now moved up into 7th spot from 10th on the grid. Making progress in these conditions is not to be sniffed at. Staying a little left of centre, 200 100 on the brakes hard for the Ascari chicane. Well, still leaving the braking, what you as a road car passenger would consider to be insanely late as they get down there. Perhaps the most phenomenal thing about a modern single-seater after the aerodynamics that give you the grip is just how well the wet weather tyres still allow you to brake. With Harry Tincknell, look at him sitting down there in the cockpit. He's not sitting down, he's been forced down by the G-force as he hits the brake. Now he comes back up to his normal height as he gets onto the accelerator. Really quite remarkable power that you've got in the braking of a modern single-seater car, and the tyres can somehow hold up to it. And out there in front of him, we know Pietro Fantin, Pipo Derani and Jack Harvey, and he can't see where any of them are. Well, there is Pietro Fantin, car number 2 now, right in front of Harry Tincknell. So this is the battle for 8th position, which is where Harry started. Carlos Sainz Jr. still leading comfortably from Felix Sorales and pulling away as we ride again with Harry Tincknell through the spray, the growing gloom. Clouds are showing no respite and the rain is coming again in sheets. Down into the rod here. Oh, throws it at the curbs, and you saw his hands working fast just as he was about to turn in. The rear's locked up and we're trying to overtake the front. Again, graphic indication of how desperately close to the edge these cars are. There's Nick McBride, 10th place for him, and Jack Harvey looking for another pass. And in these conditions, you might want to just sit safely where you are, but never leave a point on the table that you think you might be able to take. Right to the checkered flag, a racing driver's job is to try and race the car in front. And if there's no car in front, to try and leave the cars behind. Pipo Derani is in his sights. Can Jack Harvey get by him in the time that remains and move into the top 6? That'll be a great result for him. And look at the left-hand side of your picture, the back of Harvey's helmet. See the water dancing around there in the low-pressure area. You stream the air around the helmet to try and make it as aerodynamic as possible. You see the water eddying in the background, just as it does behind the rear wings, behind the side pods, behind the under tray of these cars, being thrown up into the air as they use the air as they're going through it to hold the car to the ground. It is absolutely pelting with rain now, by far the wettest conditions in this race. Almost as bad to start a race 1, and look at that, Pietro Fantin has parked it. Now the car is just steaming away from the heat. Doesn't seem to be any damage. All 4 tyres are there, and that looks like a mechanical retirement. Spike Goddard leading the national class, and he'll be very careful to keep away from the curbs, won't he? Look at that. Having made that big, costly error down at the Parabolica in race 2. Duvashin Padiachi keeping him honest. Goddard right in the middle of the track, taking no chances here. That was a costly error, not just in terms of points, but of course you can't replace bits on cars for free. He's having a really good run. Now, if the reverse grid had put him at the front, he would almost have been guaranteed a win in these conditions. He held on for over half the race when he was on pole position in Oulton Park in bone-dry conditions. In the wet, if he'd been able to start in single file, leave the safety car behind and the rest of the field, he could well be on his way to an overall win. As it is, heading potentially now for race win number 5 of the championship. So really starting to take control at the head of the national class. And it looks as though our race 1 winner here, Carlos Sainz, may well be on his way to a race 3 win as well. That'll be his second, not just of the weekend, but of the championship as well. 4th place, Jasman Jafar. Remember, he was all over the man in 3rd spot, Alex Lynn, early in the race. Lynn recovered and has crept away from the Malaysian driver. He's seated far, applying the opposite lock to negate the power slide. He comes off the chicane. Hannes van Asseldonk. And right behind, Pipo Derani, Jack Harvey. And behind Harvey, you can just pick him out, car number 21, Harry Tincknell. Massive understeer there. Tincknell turning the wheel to its full right-hand lock, and the car just ploughing through the corner. Really struggling for grip at medium, low and high speed here. Well, Jack Harvey again sticking to his task, pushing hard behind Pipo Derani. And now he's got a few car lengths away from Harry Tincknell. Tincknell closes a little under braking, but Harvey's not looking for him anymore. He's just concentrating on Derani, looking for that 6th position. That'd be good progress in these vile conditions from 10th on the grid, particularly given the fact that it wasn't a standing start from the grid, so no opportunity to pick up places because they were already strung out behind the safety car once they got underway. There's Fami Ilias. One mistake by him has dropped him out of the top 10. Spike Goddard in front of him there with the red nose. So our second Malaysian driver, Ilias, trying to recover his composure a little. Moves from left to right. That's not about putting the driver in front under pressure. That's just trying to spot where the corner is. I do seem to be saying that a lot, don't I? Repeating myself a little, but there's all sorts of things going on in these conditions that you wouldn't normally see. Trying to explain why. Look at the track in front of them. Rivers of water all over the place. Not one smooth, level amount of grip anywhere at all. So you basically chooses your line and you takes your choice. And Goddard there going right down the middle of the road as he came down to the parabolica. Moved just a little towards the racing line on the left as they turned in. Now we're right up behind Jack Harvey again. Harry Tincknell's got a good run going here down into the braking area on the outside at the Rogia. He's going to have to jump the curbs. Couldn't get the car slowed down enough to get out of the way. Rejoins in front of Harvey and will have to let him back through, but should really have stayed to the right there and not blocked his fellow Brit, because he held up Harvey, and that's rather diffused the chase of Pipo Derani. And what's more, Harry didn't actually let Harvey back through. Well, we saw the stewards weren't having any of that old nonsense in the battle for 6th position at the end of the previous race. And Harry knows better than that. It's generally accepted now, the practice having started in Formula One and trickled down, that if you do make a mistake or have to take to the escape roads and pick up a place or gain an advantage, if you don't bother giving it back, the stewards is just going to take it off you anyway, and they might add a little bit of extra time. You might lose not just the place you made up, but maybe 1 or 2 others. So always give the position back. It's not like you know you took it legally or anything. Tincknell checking both mirrors. Now, if he's trying to let Harvey through, he's not doing a very good job of it. At the moment, he seems much more intent on the red and white car in front, attacking Pipo Derani. Well, Tincknell must know that he was across the curbs. He must know that he should have given the position back. And the team may well have seen it on the monitors as well. So they're probably on the radio going, come on, Harry, give him the spot back. And this is not a good place to be doing it, because the speeds are so high. What he needs to be doing is to try to do it in a couple of slower corners. Very slow into the first corner, Pipo Derani. Again, an indication of how little grip there is. You can go in at normal speed there, because the brakes will allow you to do so, but turn the wheel and nothing much will happen. Jack Harvey, I'm sure, is feeling pretty aggrieved at the moment, just as Pipo Derani was when Alex Lynn chopped him at the chicane, and Derani was gesticulating wildly, and again Tincknell gets it wrong, and again he's going to come through the gap in the curbs there and rejoin, and that's what he should have done the last lap, stayed right and allowed Jack Harvey to go through. This time he actually does. Well, here it is a lap earlier. This is a battle under brakes. Tincknell trying to go around the outside, makes a mistake, should stay right, doesn't, moves off to the left, blocks Harvey, and then took a whole lap to give it back. On board, into the braking area once more. Jack Harvey in front. Look how low Harry's helmet is there. You can see quite clearly the height of the visor. When he was in the middle of the corner under heavy braking, the visor actually lower than the side protection. Now he is all over Jack Harvey again, battling for 7th. Oh, he's right up behind him now. This is classic Monza slipstreaming. This is what we always hope for coming to Monza. It always gives us such astonishingly exciting racing. But when you throw a bucket of water over them at the velocity that it's been thrown, it makes it hard. Tincknell still somehow squirrels through on the inside. That was quite remarkable by both men. No grip at all to be found. Driving into sheeting spray. Wow, remarkable. Well, this time, honestly, Tincknell is up to 7th place. And in 8th place, Jack Harvey slipped back 1 after good progress from 10th on the grid. Carlos Sainz Jr. into the Parabolica for the penultimate time. He will head on to the last lap in a moment. Well, he cites Silverstone and Spa as his 2 favourite circuits. Not sure he's got the greatest impression of Monza, but when you win 2 races out of 3 in a championship as prestigious as this, it's got to be a circuit that you might look forward to going back to, particularly in drier conditions, you've got to think. Felix Sorales in 2nd place, and again, no previous experience of Monza for him. I think he will definitely have this weekend in his memory for quite some while. Winning in Alton Park, fantastic start to the season, winning at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza, a fantastic 2nd race weekend for a man that very few in the UK would really have known of at all until the middle of last year in Formula Renault. He is starting to make a name for himself. If he can keep that momentum up, he could well challenge for the championship, and so too, unless he drops the ball, should Carlos Sainz. He's looking very strong indeed. The battle for 6 still alive. Pipo Derani 3. Behind him, Harry Tincknell 21. Tincknell going for it in the closing stages. I wonder if the setup of the car, maybe the tyre pressures they chose, just didn't help him in the early going, and it's all coming towards him now. So it is a better end to the weekend for Tincknell. Right up behind Derani, last lap lunge coming perhaps. He likes the outside line here into the Roggia. Derani defends, he's going the long way round. Great move, 2 in a row. He did Jack Harvey last time, he's done Derani this, and that means that the first was not a fluke. That's a very convincing outside pass there into the Roggia. And Tincknell pulled it off not once, but twice. Where was that form earlier in the race? Again, you wonder whether the car setup was for the long run rather than for early speed. Down into the Parabolica, and Carlos Sainz, sure-footed as he has been throughout this race, headed to race win number 1 in race 1 in Monza, now headed to race win number 2 to round out the weekend as a double race winner. Felipe Nasser won 2 races here last year, and 2008, famously, Sergio Perez won both of the 2 races then from 14th on the grid. Well, it's race win number 5 of the season for Spike Goddard, the young Aussie, having a really sensational run of form as he steps up from Formula 4 to British Formula 3 in the national class and claims another win here in Monza. So confirmation then, Spike Goddard is the race 3 winner in Monza in the national class. Alex Lynn takes 3rd behind Felix Sorales, but it's the 2nd race win for Carlos Sainz.
We had showed some good pace in this weekend, either in dry and in wet. So I'm really happy about it, but still there's a long way to go until the end of the championship. We need to go race by race, still improving the setup of the car in dry, also in wet as it looks perfect, but still can we improve it. And yeah, great job by the team again. I did my job and really happy about it.
Spike Goddard leading the national class points as Jack Harvey, the leader after Alton Park, slips to 4th behind Jasman Jafar and Felix Sorales, and Carlos Sainz taking the lead of the championship as they head from Monza.
That concludes your action from here in Monza, and I hope you'll agree it's been some incredible racing and some astonishing conditions. We are drenched. Very exciting stuff up next, though. There's a street circuit in Pau in the south of France. We'll see you there.